Welcome to Deep Thought. Action must follow thought. Action must follow thought. This is a very key. Whether we're talking just spiritual leanings or plan, just sitting back praying, or we get stuck in the paralysis of analysis. See, understand something. On a greater level, everything is thought. Everything around us started with a thought. Everything. Now, even depending on what spiritual path you follow, everything began with the action of whoever you consider the creator. For example, in the Bible, that was a thought that started the creation process. It's always a thought. Even when you move around, it started with a thought. Now it's an unconscious thought. But if you decide you want to walk from one end of your room to another end of the room, it's because it's not necessarily like unconscious, but it started with a thought. You're like, oh, you look at something and you want to go over there. Now, you might not say, let me get up and walk over there, but it's still the thought that carries you. Like thoughts are things. Thoughts are things, and they lead to action. See, you can't just have the thought. Like if you need someone on the other side of the room, yeah, you can sit there and think about it, but you have to take the action to go get it. Humanity as a whole hasn't evolved to the point they can just think about something and it just floats over to them. Not yet. That might be another several thousand years of evolution. Maybe. We won't get into the deepness of evolution, right? But right now, you want something, you think about something, you got to get up and you got to take an action to go get it. And that's the same thing. You might pray whatever deity you pray to. You have a problem. You say a prayer. Okay. You say the prayer, you got to take action. Now, I mentioned briefly when I was talking about the spiritual aspect, you might pray for $1 million, right? You pray for $1 million. You say God or Great Pumpkin or Galactus or Thanos, whichever one you want to use, Big Rom. And you'll say to yourself, well, God, I beseech you, I want $1 million. God will be sitting back chilling, got his chalice. Be like, yeah, all right. So I'm going to open these things up for you, but you got to take the step. You got to go through there. Oh, and for goddess worshipers, say, baby, you got to go through there. You got to take the action. You got to take the action. Because what happened in that case, okay, you prayed for $1 million, right? Okay, you got the spiritual thing. Then you need to think about it. Say, okay, how am I going to make $1 million? Okay, maybe I get into this business or I do that. You got to start taking the steps towards it. Because to make the $1 million, even at the easiest, the absolute easiest, you still got to go to that liquor store and get that lottery ticket. And even then, that's not really a good way. The more practical way is, okay, what's my skill level? What am I into? What do I know? Can it possibly lead me to $1 million? Okay, if it can't, then you might have to get an education. You might have to learn some skills. You have to go out. You have to actually take action to find out what you can do to bring in $1 million. But it got to take action. You can't sit there and want $1 million and you just sit there. I mean, you just laying there. You could pray all the time. You can pray all the time. Oh, and incidentally, like I said, I don't usually promote my particular path, but one thing I'll say, you only need to pray for something once. You don't need to pray for it every day. The right forces heard you the first time. And then if you have faith that, you can get it, you'll get it. And that gets into another thing, faith. Because faith is just a belief in things unseen. It's not right there. but it helps move you along. Yeah, I haven't gone on tangents like I used to, but I'm gonna start doing that. Y'all know how I flow, stream of consciousness. Anyway, so it's like you want to make that $1 million, you make the move. You got to take the action towards it. You know, if you pray that your health gets better, okay, you can't just sit there and expect a miracle. Boom, you got to take the action. You might have to do some work. You might have to lose some weight if you got something like high blood pressure or diabetes or cholesterol. Change your eating habits. That's the action. You know, physically go to the gym. Everything is an action. Whatever you want. If you want more money, if you praying, or if you praying for a bigger house, okay, you can pray all you want. You probably ain't gonna win that in a contest. So, but you got to take the steps to do it. You might have to work harder on your job. You have to plan. And you can't sit there and say, well, if I do this or that, okay, fine. You still got to do it, right? So the action, you got to take the action to follow whatever you're thinking about. And it should be automatic. But see, a lot of times people think about stuff, you know, whether it's praying or they get according to the paralysis of analysis, they don't go anywhere because they haven't taken the action. What action are you going to take? What are you going to do? I'm going to tell you what, like I always say, I'm not a guru, but I always learn stuff. I remember I had some plans for something, right? And this is, I was still in my 20s. Had this plan to do something, right? But I was caught in a little bit of that paralysis of analysis, right? So I told another person, right? You know, he came as soon as I told him, he didn't say, well, let's think about it. He was like, okay, let's get started. And I was like, what? He's like, let's get started. What are we going to do? Keep talking about it? Let's get started. And it didn't come to fruition because I wasn't ready. But that's when I first really learned that just sitting down, just thinking about something ain't good enough. If it's serious. Now, you can think about something and you can think about why you don't want to do it. And that's cool. But if it's something that you really want to do, really want to get done, you can't get stuck. All you really thinking about is the plan, what you want to do in the plan. And then you got to go and do what you need to do. You know, and that's for everything. That's for every single thing. Everything you want to accomplish, you got to take an action. Like on my main channel, I always talk about the body game. I always talk about men getting in their best physical shape. And not just to get women, but for their health. And then just to have the strength to do things. But, you know, I can tell you 1,000 times, but if you don't take the action to improve, what good is it? You know, because sometimes the paralysis of analysis is just listening to somebody telling you something, but you ain't going out to see if it works. You got to take action. And that's with anything. Whether it's spiritual, whatever. I don't care what you want in life. You got to take action. You got to figure out something and then make the moves. Like Rom, I still ain't made my million yet, but I'm taking actions to get there. You know, I ain't gonna sit there and like, oh, I wish I had $1 million and, you know, great pumpkin. Why don't you give me $1 million? Nah. I'm like, okay, I want to make $1 million. What can I do? I was like, boom. I was like, okay, I need to bring in more money. All right, where's my opportunities? I'm taking the action. You know, I'm taking the action. So anyway, your action must always follow your thought. So anyway, that's all I have. I want y'all to think on this. As always, keep rising and transforming. Peace.